Hi, it's Matthew Dixon of MindAid.ca. I've got some news. Had some bad news the other day, but it turned out okay. And that's another conversation. But life's a trip. That's all I have to say is life's a trip. So I'm a mental health advocate. I've got lived experience with schizophrenia for 30 years. And I've been trying to help people with mental illness in developing countries with my MindAid platform the last almost 6 years. And I know what it's like to be desperate for help. And I I'm not cured. I take a medication. I'm feeling great these days. I'm still on my medication. I have to watch my stress levels throughout my life, and I'm I'm conscious of getting burnt out, and I want to enjoy my life because I've had so much of my life taken away. I'd really like to enjoy the rest of my life if I can, and it's a conflict in me a little bit. I've talked about my conflict with wanderlust and traveling before. That's something I've talked about a lot. One thing I haven't talked about much, I don't think, on online is I've had an interest in acting, and I don't want to. I will not leave Mind Aid and abandon it. I will always work on that, and I am conscious of what makes me happy, and I don't want to get burned out. So a role model of mine, Scott Harrison of Charity Water, he got burned out. He was working like 14-hour days for Charity Water, and in recent years he works 9 to 5 now. He goes home, spends time with his family. He fly fishes. He's got four-wheelers that people can come to his house and ride on and have fun. So he's conscious of a work-life balance too. And with my disease, I really should not be so hard on myself for trying to have a work life balance. But I do think sometimes, can I work on Mind Aid 14 hours a day like Scott and help people, because I know what it's like to be desperate for help and not get it. I mean, I did get help, but I just know what it's like to suffer and be desperate for help. And it's hard to ignore those millions of pleas from those suffering around the world. It's hard for me to ignore that. But I'm just one person, and yeah. So anyway, the acting thing is I auditioned for a play tonight, and it's the only time I've ever auditioned for a play. The only other time I've done anything acting related was about 5 years ago. I took an acting course in the afternoon with Shelley Thompson of the Trailer Park Boys TV show and movie. She was in a Jim Henson movie back in the 80s, and she got us up immediately with a partner doing acting, practicing acting for an afternoon. And I left there feeling on top of the world. Oh my gosh, did that ever put me in a good mood? Wow, I could not believe it. I lived in Fredericton, New Brunswick for 30 years. I didn't really enjoy living there. And that afternoon after the course, it was in Fredericton. And after I left the course for the next day, I was just on for the rest of that day. I guess I think it wore off the next day, but I was just on cloud nine. I was just so happy. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to be here. It's so nice to see people and chat. And oh hi, how are you? What's going on with you? And I just was in such a good mood. I could not get over how good a mood it put me in. Nothing had ever really made me feel that way before. I've biked across Canada twice now. Just this summer, I biked across Canada. I got a warm, fuzzy feeling of accomplishment as I got to the hill at the end of the ride in Newfoundland and St. John's. This is a different feeling from acting, and I've done lots of things in my life. Well, not lots of things, but I've tried at least once a number of things, all sorts of sports and swimming, kayaking, and running and hiking and watching movies, going to plays, and nothing makes me feel this certain way after I'm done the play. It's my mood improvement. Oh my gosh. And tonight I've got a second data point. Second data point. I just I'm just on cloud nine. I loved it. I When I'm in acting, I know I'm not the best, but people have said I've got some natural talent. And like tonight in there, I wasn't like all giddy, just giggling. I was, focused on the task and stuff and sort of going through it, trying to do a good job. but it's the mood afterwards. Oh my gosh, I'm just so elated. And anyway, so this is, and I'm not going to be going off to a movie set for the next 3, 4 months working 12-hour days. This is, if I do get this part, and I don't know if I will, but if I do get it, it's practicing 2 evenings a week for January and February, the next 2 months, and then March and April, 3 evenings a week. So it'll give me something to do in the weekends. It would give me a bit of work-life balance. So, and if it makes me feel this good, why not? So anyway, I don't know if I'll get it or not. I don't want to focus right now on an acting career or what my life could be like down that. I'm just overjoyed about this my mood improvement more than anything, to be honest. But anyway, I've always had an interest in acting. I've just never done anything with it. I've read one book on acting maybe 6, 7 years ago, and that's about it. So there's my news. So, like I said, life's a trip. A couple days ago, I had a health scare. Thought I was having a stroke, might be having a stroke. It wasn't. It was just sinus congestion. It was pain I'd never experienced before. And anyway, I'm doing better now. The last couple days, the congestion's leaving. I even auditioned for a play. Not feeling the best. So anyway, but it was a wake-up call like I've never had before. I've had schizophrenia for 30 years. You could say that's a 30-year wake-up call. I've been on suicide watch before in 1994, but I've never been as scared for my life. Well, not as scared for my life. I just thought differently. I wasn't scared. I wasn't anxious. I was just thinking about what I'm doing with my life. And two things that it made me do are it makes me want to eat better and exercise more and just stay physically healthy. And so, I mean, and I was just talking to a friend, those two things are relatively easy to do. I mean, some things you can't do. I've struggled with loneliness for many years, and sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes it's just hard to find someone you click with or enough people to hang out with, or people are just busy. I've been single my whole life, and everyone, most people are in a relationship. Actually, about a third of the U.S. is single. So, and I don't know if that includes kids. Maybe a third of the adult population is single. I guess that would be the more correct answer. But a lot of people are single, but it's hard if everyone's just busy with stuff with their families and whatnot. It's you kind of get left out a bit. So anyway, but diet and exercise are relatively easy to change if you want to. It's not always easy to want to. We want to, but actually getting it done can be harder. But once you have the willpower to get it done, then they're more doable. To just simply not eat junk food. Junk food costs about the same as regular food, so why don't we just stop eating it? And exercise, well, you can go for a walk, go for a run, whatever. Do some push-ups, sit-ups. It's they're just easier to do. You don't need to rely on other people to do those things. And I don't want to downplay. Lots of people struggle with diet and exercise, but after you get a wake-up call like I did, it just makes you think. So the last couple of days I've been eating better, and I went for a walk yesterday. Today I didn't go for a walk, but it's on my list to do tomorrow, to go for like an hour-long walk. So I'm thinking today, maybe if I start off with 3 walks a week, every other day, say, that might help get me into the routine. And then if I can get that down, maybe add some more walking, not maybe every day or something like that. So anyway, that's my news. And the other thing I did today for Mind Aid was I looked at the registered investment advisory firms, some of them in Maine, the next state across the border from me. And I went on their websites, perused some of those to see about, I was looking for RIAs that have more of a charitable focus, social impact, philanthropic, that I could see them talking about on their websites. So I got more familiar with them, and I went on Google Maps. I looked at their offices on Google Maps on Google Street View, could see the photo from the sidewalk of their building. That helps visualize things. These are not just cyber people that don't exist. They it just helps visualizing things. I love Google Street View. So these are just people. There's their parking lot. That's where they park their car every morning. You can see them and see where they go. And anyway, that's a trick I use to help getting over my fear of things, fear of making the call. Realize they're just people. They're just people like you and me, and not to be afraid to call. And the reason I want to call them is because and I talked about this the other day. Uh, if I can, Brad Blazer, he's in the States. He teaches people how to approach investment and financial advisors or RIAs or investment brokers and ask for money for investment capital or for me for donations. So that's what I would be asking them. These firms have a few $100 million or more between all their clients, and I would be asking them for a donation from them for Mind Aid to help people with mental illness in developing countries. So I'm on a real high about that. And if I can make that work, if I can get an RIA to donate $10,000, $100,000, $1 million, that would be huge, huge for what I'm trying to do. The other thing that happened was the guy who's helps people form cooperatives. I'm thinking of maybe making Mind Aid a cooperative or a nonprofit, making it an official entity. He couldn't talk with me. It was today or yesterday. He was going to call. He postponed it till next week, next Tuesday. So I'll chat with him and see what he has to say. He's gone over the Mind Aid website the last couple weeks, and he'll have some advice for me. So curious about that. And yeah, happy holidays, everybody. Christmas is coming, and I'm on cloud nine from acting. Yeah, we'll see where that goes. And anyway, I don't want to give too many details about the play. They didn't tell us not to tell anybody about the play, so I guess I could, but I'll just keep it under wraps. Anyway, talk to you later.